There's a lot of straight up misinformation and lies told about chickens across the internet and even just across the world in general. In today's video, I'm going to be debunking some of these myths and showing you the actual factual statement about this, so you don't have to accidentally apply these to your chickens. And I'm going to show you some alternatives to some of these as well. So without any further ado, the first myth, and probably the least common one I'm going to be discussing on these videos: you cannot keep chickens as pets, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's just a straight up lie. Like, I literally keep chickens as pets, and although it is sometimes really difficult to keep chickens as pets, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, they're gonna be the pet that dies the most often. Like, you think your dog or your cats die pretty early on. Look at these chickens. Some of them will die in their first day, and a lot more will be killed by predators, and some will be killed in their first year due to egg-borne illnesses, and so much more. There's just a lot out here to hunt down your chickens. Chickens happen to fall right in the middle of the food chain. So a lot of the bigger things, like, wildlife, coyotes, wolves, bears, they're gonna come down there and they're gonna kill your chickens. And sometimes they slaughter everything at once. Like, take for example, I don't know, a mink, or even worse, around here in southern New England, southwestern New England, we have fisher cats. My neighbors have said that once back in 2022, they lost 86% of their chickens. Keep in mind, 87%, 13 out of 15 of their chickens were slaughtered in a night because of a fisher cat. So yes, it is very difficult to keep them as pets sometimes because you do have to get adjusted to loss. But once you get yourself adjusted to the loss of chickens, then it shouldn't be terribly hard to keep chickens as pets. Myth number 2, the quote-unquote big attack is easily preventable. If you guys didn't catch my latest video essay, which I posted on Saturday, I talked about the quote-unquote big attack, which happens when up to 15% of your flock, sometimes more, is wiped out in a 72-hour window by one specific predator. Take, for example, these coyotes that killed 57% of my chickens back in July 2023. The issue is that it's not preventable. There are things that you can do to put into place that can delay this happening, but eventually you're gonna have a big attack. See, I have a ton of different diagrams in my bedroom of structures that will help keep chickens as safe as possible. But one of those days, if I build one of those, there's going to be an animal that's smart enough to get in here. Or worst of all, a human. Because humans are usually the smartest chicken predators. Because they can just, walk into a coop at night, they can open up the door, and they can take one of these poor chickens off the roost bar. You can't see anything in here because it's the night time. But they can just walk in there and take a chicken off the roost bar and leave. And they could do that for months on end and slowly wipe out your chickens. Or in just one night, they could take every single one of them, throw them in a barrel, and ship them out to their house. So yeah, that big attack can happen from any animal, or even worse yet, humans, because that one is not preventable at all, because eventually, through trials and tribulations, somebody is going to be able to open up that gate. And even though that's less common in, smaller communities, they can still happen, so be prepared for when that could happen. Myth number 3, chickens can't fly, so you don't have to build tall fences. That is wrong, 100% wrong. These fences are 6 feet tall. Well, they're bent. This is 6 feet tall right here. For comparison, I am 5'10", so I do go up to the tip of these by just a little bit under 1.5 inches. So the reason why they're so tall is because chickens can flutter. They can't fly, but they somewhat fly. If chickens get a running start, they can jump a little bit. And if there's some objects in the area at the chicken's disposal, they could jump even higher. My most viewed video has 16,000 views, and it's of a chicken up on that roof. And you want to know how she got up there? She first started on the ground, and she jumped up to that thing right there, and she jumped onto the roof. That's how she did it, because she had a ton of things at her disposal to do that. This automatic door is acting weird. Like, it was just shutting, and then it just reopened, and trust me, it's about to shut in like 5 seconds. Anyway, yep, I called it, bro. What do you know? But anyways, back to the point though, chickens can fly to an extent, but it really depends on how you define flying. Because if you define it as actually flying through the air, yeah, they can't do that. Chickens don't just fly away from you. Like, you go in there in the morning to go feed them and they're all up in the trees. They can jump maybe up to about 6 feet, but they can't necessarily fly. So build your fences about 6 to 10 feet tall, and don't be afraid to add a top, but that's generally for protection against aerial predators, not for keeping the chickens in the yard. Now we have the most hilarious piece of chicken advice I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Chickens need a rooster to lay eggs. Whenever I look up chicken myths to, write an outline for these videos, I always see this one pop up in every single website. But the funniest thing is that this is just the most hilarious and easy myth to bust. Like literally, take a look at this graph on screen. Hopefully it's on the screen. If it's not, I'll just tell you right now. My rooster falcon caused a 50% decline in eggs in their first year. That is when their peak is supposed to be. Roosters put a lot of stress on the chickens, and you know, they mate with the chickens, which tears off their feathers, and they're gonna need energy to regrow those feathers. So yes, roosters do not do that. Unless you really want to raise chickens for having baby chickens and make a little bit of income from that, then yeah, be sure to get some roosters. But if you want to have more production base, use roosters as a tool to help keep things out of there. But if you're just trying to raise a casual flock, you know, get some eggs on the side and sell them, but that's not really your main priority, like we have in our pet flock, don't get roosters. So that pretty much does it. Those were all the myths that first came to my mind. I'm probably going to end up making a part 2 in January because 12 Days of the Chicken is coming up in December. Comment some down below and I'll either answer them in the comments or save them for the part 2. So turn on those notifications, click the like and subscribe button. As I said earlier, we're trying to reach 4K before Christmas, and I think I can do it with your help. Click the video on the screen right now if you want to learn about why chickens can be really hard to raise sometimes. I'll see you guys in the video I posted the other day. Bye.